PorchLight Recovery is a sober living recovery campus designed for professionals who experience addiction problems. Here with more is Executive Director Vincent Palizzotto. Thank you so much for joining us again, Vincent. I've told you off camera, it's an amazing, amazing work that you're doing. It's so important. And one thing I think we don't think about is how addiction impacts professionals, working professionals.
Yeah.
So what is your advice to the working professional who is dealing with addiction right now?
I think the first thing is to be honest with yourself. And if you're not sure if you can be honest with yourself, because oftentimes we'll talk ourselves out of our problems, be honest with your loved ones. Be honest with those that are closest to you. If you hear that little voice inside of you, but you also hear a friend's voice, your wife, your husband, your kids, and they're talking to you about a serious thing, listen. Just listen. Take a moment out and listen, because it's probably pretty important and something that wasn't easy for them to bring to your attention.
Very important to talk about it. And I've mentioned on this show before, and I think I can speak for maybe millions of Americans that have dealt with family members with addiction. It's the toughest thing for family members to deal with, but thinking about the person who is addicted themselves. And you brought up a very important point, that you have to listen to that inner voice. What about those who ignore that inner voice and say, I'm functional? We're talking about professionals.
Absolutely.
What about those who are functioning in their 9 to 5, perfectly normal, but it's what's happening after 5 p.m.? What's your advice to those who are ignoring that inner voice?
I would say is start to look at your goals. Professionals are motivated by goals, and oftentimes what happens is things start to slip, right? We start to look at and start to blame. But the reality is oftentimes the blame lies with ourselves. It's not because the marketing may not have worked or the sales strategy may not have worked. Oftentimes what happens is that the chaos surrounding addiction doesn't allow us to attain our goals. And if you start to set and being realistic with yourself as a professional, starting to look at those goals, and those are slipping, we're making excuses, and we all know. We all know when we're responsible versus something that's ancillary responsible for not hitting something. But if those are starting to slip, if your relationships are starting to slip, the most important ones, right, to your spouse, to your children, to your friends, if those are starting to slip, take action. Don't wait another minute, because there's only one road that ends up, and it's usually tragedy, most often. And even if you can make it through life without a DUI, without hurting others, the reality is you're still not tapping into your best self and who it is that you deserve to be. We all have this potential, and why would you want to do something that would reduce that potential, reduce the ability to have a great life that we're supposed to have? A life would live with passion and connection and purpose. And if you're starting to lose sight of that purpose, because with my friends that committed suicide, it was addiction coupled with, oh, wow, things are slipping. Oh, wow, it's getting to be too much stress. If you're waking up but you're not sleeping at night, the stress is piling up, and you're turning to something that's not productive, like getting yourself into the gym or going for a walk or taking a Pilates class, and you're not doing something productive, you're probably doing something anti-productive.
Destructive.
There we go. Anti-productive, destructive.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And we know when we're doing that, whatever that is, we know. And we all have that internal conscious to be able to make a choice. And so we're here. That's why we're here. Because my friends, my cousin, I can't turn back the clock for them. But for your viewers, I believe we can help your viewers that are struggling.
And that's why we have you here. So tell us more about what how your staff is trained to help people in recovery.
Yeah, so the first thing is that we're licensed through the Department of Drug and Alcohol Programs in Pennsylvania. And then what we have as our overlay of coaches and mentors is that they're trained professionals in relapse prevention, peer support specialists, to be able to guide people, right? These are not clinical staff, but they're really life coaches to be able to connect the dots and be able to overcome those struggles. I mean, a great coach is just that, right?
Absolutely.
It allows us to achieve and be our best selves. And in this platform, it's to be your best self without addiction, without substance. And that's all those folks are there to do. And rather than a self-governed house, they're actually living alongside our residents to be able to guide them, right? To be that support, to be able to learn how to tap into their passions, because oftentimes those passions are left way back.
Untapped.
Untapped,
Yeah.
or we
Yeah.
just forget what they are.
Right,
And so
right.
it's so important to have somebody that's really committed to your goals.
So important. I must say, life-changing, life-saving.
Life-saving.
Quickly for our audience, how can people get in contact with you?
So they can go right to the website, www.porchlightrecovery.com. There they'll find our number. Give us a call. Shoot us a message. If you have a question, you're unsure, you're just kind of on the fence, we're here. We're here. We're here to talk. If our program isn't the right fit, we'll connect you with a program that is.
Perfect. Listen, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
The preceding portion of Living Local DMV is sponsored by PorchLight Recovery.